Okay.
From haunted bedrooms and vanishing faces to unseen forces that toss children across the room. Some footage is so disturbing that it doesn't just creep you out, it keeps you awake at night. These aren't Hollywood edits or horror movie scenes. These are real people, real homes, and real moments caught on camera. Whether it's a sinister whisper in the dark or a shadow that shouldn't exist, these clips might just make you sleep with the lights on. In the quiet suburbs of the UK, a woman named Natalie had been living a relatively peaceful life with her family until their house began undergoing renovations. The property was old, steeped in years of history, and Natalie started to believe that the construction work had disturbed something sinister buried deep within the home's foundation. What started as minor disturbances quickly escalated into something far more terrifying. One night, as her young son lay asleep in his bed, an invisible force seemed to grab him by the ankle and yank him straight off the mattress. Security footage from the room shows the boy being dragged without warning, as if something unseen was waiting in the shadows for the perfect moment to strike. The child immediately sat up and cried, not just from the shock of being pulled, but as if reacting to something present in the room that others couldn't see. Speaking into the air, he said, "I don't like it," his voice full of fear. Moments later, he ran into his parents' bedroom, trembling, and told Natalie that there was a man in his room. But when they checked the footage in the room itself, it was clear no one had entered. The door never opened. There was no man in sight. Yet something, or someone, had reached for her son that night. But across the world, another camera caught something just as chilling.
Okay.
Only this time, it wasn't movement. It was a voice. And it was calling from the dark. Jennifer had been caring for her critically ill elderly mother, watching over her closely every night. Her mother's health had declined rapidly, and the family had been struggling with the weight of multiple hardships. Both parents, her mother and father, were now gravely ill. One quiet night, Jennifer was monitoring her mother's bedroom through a video monitor when she witnessed something that gave her chills. From the darkness, a soft female voice could be heard, whispering a single word, "Come." In response, her mother, who was lying in bed, slowly raised her hands and gently replied, "Okay." A moment later, the same faint voice spoke again, this time saying, "Mama," with unmistakable clarity. Jennifer was stunned.
Okay.
The voice was not unfamiliar. She believed it belonged to her sister, who had passed away in 2017. To her, the moment felt like more than coincidence. It felt like a comforting visit. She was convinced that her sister had come back to be with their mother, to guide her as she prepared to pass over to the other side. Not every spirit wants to comfort. Some just refuse to let go. And for one woman, the past followed her home and scratched its way in. Tara Rule has long believed that the paranormal experiences she faced as a child never truly left her. Growing up in a house she describes as haunted, she now suspects that something from that place attached itself to her and followed her into adulthood.
I'm going to tell you a ghost story. It's a true ghost story. And I believe that whatever it is has followed me here.
Years later, Tara began to notice strange occurrences in her current apartment. She would frequently walk into her kitchen to find all the cabinets wide open, even though she hadn't touched them. Her cat, usually calm, began acting anxious, hiding without cause, refusing to come out, as if reacting to something unseen. More recently, the activity intensified. While speaking to her stepfather on the phone, he suddenly asked, "Who's there with you?" Tara, confused, told him she was home alone. But he insisted, saying he could hear a man's voice, loud, clear, and talking just as audibly as Tara herself. She heard nothing. Moments later, the voice abruptly stopped.
Oh, my stepdad today, right? He goes, "Who's there with you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Who's there with you?" I was like, "No one, why?" And he's like, "Who's that guy talking?" I'm like, "I'm here completely alone. What do you mean?" He's like, "There's a man talking, like just as loud as you right now." And I was like, "I don't hear anything." And then he said it stopped.
Things only grew more disturbing from there. Tara began finding deep, strange scratches on her apartment windows, but not from the inside. They were etched into the outer glass. Even more unsettling, her apartment is located on the second floor. The markings were unlike anything she'd ever seen, and on closer inspection, they appeared to form 4 letters, though she couldn't make out exactly what they spelled. No matter how much she tried to wipe the windows clean, the scratches remained, proving they were indeed on the outside.
So bad news, there's new scratches. Again, these are on the outside of the windows, and I'm on the second floor. You can tell me what you think it says. Let me get a good angle here. I don't know what it says, but it looks like it's like 4 letters maybe.
While recording the new marks for documentation, Tara accidentally caught something else. One of the kitchen cabinets slowly creaking open on its own right behind her. Startled and visibly shaken, she paused mid-sentence, clearly unsettled by the incident.
The only other like weird-ish thing to note is I've been hearing like loud noises. Am I f***ing? That's Jackie. Oh my god, thank god.
To this day, Tara continues to experience unexplained activity in her home. Just days ago, she discovered yet another fresh set of scratches on her second floor window. The entity that haunted her childhood may not just be a memory, it may still be with her, watching and waiting. Sometimes it's not about what's inside the house. Sometimes the warning comes from outside, and it's already too late. In an unknown city in the Philippines, a CCTV camera captured footage of a woman walking along a street wearing a red hoodie. What caught everyone's attention wasn't her walk, but what happened to her head. In the video, her head appears to vanish and reappear multiple times, while the rest of the footage remains perfectly stable.
Nakapula, nakapula. Ayan siya.
Saan galing mo?
Kung galing doon sa mga ito sa may Maligayas ka dyan. Yan ang mabuti sa mga lang ito. Kita niya.
Ayan, glitch doon. Sino masira yung CCTV natin?
Yun na.
Pacheck kay Sanchez yung mga CCTV. Bakit ganyan?
Wala yung ulo. Pati nga nung bangka.
According to a Filipino superstition, when someone appears headless in a photo or video, it means they are about to die. Minutes later, that same woman was struck by a runaway taxi van. She reportedly passed away from her injuries. The clip spread rapidly across social media in the Philippines, leaving people divided.
Ayun no, bilis. Ayun, nawala ng pwede.
Some believe it's a supernatural warning caught on camera. Others think it was just a technical glitch or an elaborate hoax. But no one has ever identified the original source, making it one of the strangest and most mysterious videos online. It's not just cameras on the street. Even inside our homes, something might be watching, from just beyond the doorway. Branda and her husband were fast asleep one night when their home security camera captured something deeply unsettling at around 2:45 a.m. In the footage, their family dog suddenly becomes alert as a strange flash of light appears. Moments later, what looks like a pale, child-sized face peeks out from a doorway. Just as the light fades, a shadowy figure, roughly the size of a small child, seems to stand silently in the hallway. Then, just as quickly, it vanishes. A few seconds later, the pale face appears again, peering from the same door before disappearing without a trace. Neither Branda nor her husband had ever experienced anything paranormal before, and they had never shared anything unusual online. Both insist they have no explanation for what was caught on camera that night, leaving only questions and an unsettling silence. For one couple, a night in a family home turned from quiet to terrifying when something decided it didn't want them there. Chaz Beckstead and his wife Rachel were spending the night at Rachel's late grandfather's home, just 1 month after he had passed away inside the house. As the couple settled in for bed, something deeply unsettling began to happen. Their bedroom door suddenly started moving back and forth on its own.
How you doing? You okay?
I don't know.
You a little freaked out?
A little bit.
So, we were just going to bed and we're not... Let me just show you. Like, we've literally had to put the bag up against the door because we're not sure. And like, we're literally just...
Despite there being no draft or airflow in the house. Disturbed, they placed a bag against the door, but the motion didn't stop. Spooked, they quickly decided to leave. As Chaz packed their things, the door violently slammed shut behind him and began shaking even more aggressively.
Okay, so we're leaving. We got all of our stuff packed. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, we're out of here. Rachel's already in the car. I'm leaving, like, I don't know what's going on.
Rachel had already run to the car. Chaz followed, visibly shaken and unable to explain what had just happened. Some viewers believe it was the spirit of Rachel's grandfather. Others suggest something far more sinister had made itself at home. To this day, the couple has no explanation for what they witnessed that night. And while some try to leave a haunted house behind, others take the horror with them, even on a hike. Around 5:30 in the morning, 2 girls were hiking through the mountains in the Philippines as part of a larger group. They paused briefly to take some photos and, without realizing it, were left behind. In a rush to rejoin the group, one of the girls began filming as they ran along the narrow trail. Later, while reviewing the footage, they spotted something chilling. Far in the background, a dark, shadowy figure appeared to be following them, its form unnaturally still, watching from the trees.
Naliligaw kami, guys! Naliligaw! Wala ni mga kasama namin! Wala ni mga kasama namin. Kailangan namin silang habulin kasi maliligaw kami. Gagi, malayo na sila. Wala na.
Moments later, the figure vanished without a trace. According to the girl who posted the video, no one else was with them at the time and they hadn't noticed anyone nearby. The figure was only discovered after rewatching the clip. Whether it was someone quietly stalking them or something entirely unexplainable, the strange presence remains a disturbing mystery. But back at home, one child saw something moving things around. And what the footage shows? It's even worse. One afternoon, a father was working in his office when his young son came running in, visibly upset. The boy claimed that a man was moving things in the other room. Concerned, the father followed him to the living room and found toys and household items scattered across the floor. To understand what happened, he checked the security footage, and what he saw left him stunned. A small toy in the dog bed could be seen sliding across the floor on its own. Moments later, the boy entered the room, clearly frustrated, and tried to fix the mess. He picked up the dog bed and threw it down in protest. Then, without warning, the bed slid aggressively back toward him, knocking him over. Fortunately, he landed safely on the cushion. father couldn't explain it, and neither could his son, who had only said one thing. A man was moving things. So what do you think? Technical glitches, elaborate hoaxes, or real encounters with something we can't explain? Each clip leaves behind one question louder than the rest. What if it's all real? If you've had a moment like this, something strange, something unshakable, drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.